Yo, what's up, guys? This is YNOT Be Reckless, aka YNOT Be Cast, and one of the HCS commentators, analysts, and content creators, and we have another HCS report where today we'll be answering the question: is Ryanoob top 4 once again? Let's talk about it. So, guys, in order to answer the question, is Ryanoob top 4 once again, we have to go a bit back and talk about what has transpired. What transpirated? The hell? Cut that out. What has transpired up until now leading up into Atlanta, and we got to talk about the fact that there's an HCS qualifier that's happening, and with that qualifier, we're going to find out who's making it to that number 1 and number 2 pools and who's following it up after that, because this is important, and this is where Ryanoob and Complexity kind of tied their way into the story a little bit. So we're going to go over this the bracket for the qualifier that happened, but just keep in mind, if whoever won or got second place during the qualifier would take a number 1, number 2 spot in Pool A and Pool B, which again is extremely important. So let's not forget the fact that Complexity made a huge move in signing both Rain and Breaking Shot to the roster. And this was a roster that people kind of questioned a little bit, and they kept saying, trust the process. And I will say, I wasn't one of those people that were coming in and being hard on this Complexity roster, but a lot of y'all were, and a lot of y'all weren't believers. So why don't we talk about it just a little bit and talk about what happened during that actual Atlanta qualifier. So we do see what ended up happening here with Cloud9 versus Reversal Perfy, and it was a 3-0 in favor of Cloud9. Tusk, Sabinator, Suspector, and Septified going at it with Reversal Perfy, which was made up this week of Common, Envor, Mortally, and Yaxer. We saw Envor being brought to the roster before in place of, I want to say, Haynes, and Mortally was in place of Breaking Shot, and now you have Yaxin coming in as well to kind of round things out a little bit. They did end up separating from Super CC, which I was a little bit sad to see, because I was happy to have Super CC back in the league. But Reversal Perfy did some great things until they ran to Cloud9, which came up with the 3-0. And Cloud9, they doing things themselves. Scroll down to where we saw one of the bigger upsets that we didn't expect to see, I should say, and that's Complexity coming up with the 3-1 against Pure. Again, Ryanoob, Rain, Huss, and Breaking Shot against Taulik, Druck, Cherished, and Last Shot. If you've been paying attention, this Pure roster has been insane. Absolutely insane has this Pure roster been, including a huge Game 5 win against Shopify Rebellion. We saw them go up 2-0 the week prior to that against that very Shopify Rebellion squad, but eventually Rebellion came up with the reverse sweep and ended up knocking them down to elimination bracket the week prior. Just in the final open series before the actual qualifier, that's when Pure actually finally did it against Rebellion. A big win in the Game 5, a very strong Pure roster, and was coming into this qualifier as one of the favorites to not only make the grand finals, but potentially win the qualifier. That's until they ran into a Complexity squad that was well prepared, well coordinated, and for the people that were questioning the firepower that's going to come with this squad, well, they went toe-to-toe with one of the fastest in the league, which clearly you're going to need firepower in order to do that. So why don't we take a look at the stats and see where that firepower came from. So we obviously saw Last Shot, 86 kills, 27,000 damage over the course of 4 games. I'm gonna bring out a calculator for that, because I need to math this up real quick. Hold on. Not even 5 games. 2771. That is averaging 6,942.75 damage per game. In 4 games, 27,000 damage, almost 28,000 damage, is almost averaging almost 7,000 damage per game. Keep in mind, in the Slayer, it's impossible to get 7,000 damage. So if we look at it, let's see, 4,500. So think about what you would have to average in the objectives in order to bring that average up to almost 7,000. That's crazy. That is crazy to think about. In a matchup that you lost, still the amount of damage that he's putting out, with not even taking all that much more than the rest of his teammates, dude, last shot is the real deal. 67.4. God bless. What is wrong with this kid? Meanwhile, on the other side of things, we'll talk about the team that actually won, which is Complexity, and a lot of that firepower coming from the duo of Huss and Ryanoob, the originators of this squad, of this Complexity roster, even though Rain a long time duo Ryanoob. 74 kills out of Huss, 22,345 damage, and Ryanoob coming out with almost 70 kills himself. Damn good assists across the board. And one thing I've noticed with this Complexity roster is a well-balanced attack when it comes to where their offense is coming from. It is well-balanced. It simply is, and that's what you want to see out of this Complexity roster. Very close Empyrean, very close Slayer, 2-1, if only 5 kill difference in the Slayer. Pure looking very good in Strongholds, which, let's be honest, they look good in every time they pick up Strongholds, but Complexity, which, by the way, Pure have sneakily become a pretty damn good oddball team. Not good enough to beat Complexity, who closed it out in that Game 4 in a decisive win in favor of Complexity. And we'll take a quick look at what the stats were looking like. Cherished having, God bless, a lot of ball time there. Meanwhile, Huss and Breaking Shot pretty close to each other as far as their objective time. Flag holding time is Last Shot doing his thing as far as holding the flag, pretty even across the board for Complexity. The steals, though, a lot of steals coming out of Pure, which is what you want to see, high pulls, even in a game type like Empyrean. But what's more importantly is actually capping the flag. Like, Complexity pulled it 3 times, they capped twice. You know, we got a lot of pulls here, a lot of steals, 8 times, but only capping, I believe, 1 time. So, what do we have? Yeah, only capping 1 time. Just not going to be enough when it comes to capture the flag. Finally, Strongholds, decent. Cherished once again doing the dirty work, but you see Ryanoob and Rain doing a lot of that Stronghold occupation time for this squad. So objective fairly even across the board for Complexity, which is very similar to what they were doing in the Slays and the damage department as well. Things kind of adding up for this Complexity roster, and a big win against Pure. Still got to ask ourselves, remember, the question is Complexity a top 4 team again? Is Ryanoob top 4 again? Complexity versus Cloud9. We saw Cloud9 play really well against Reversal Perfy. Not the same for Complexity, and in my opinion, Cloud9 too good not to win a game off of Complexity. We always talk about the fact that we hate seeing sweeps. And whenever you see me do my prediction videos, I never predict a sweep because we honestly hate seeing it. I think most of the teams in this league are good enough to take wins off of almost anybody in the league, unless you're like going up, 3 or 4 levels against your competition, no matter who it is. Always feel like a team has a chance of taking a win off. And I think Cloud9 is too good not to get a win off of Complexity, in my opinion. Complexity, another big win for them. Cloud9 down to the lower bracket. This puts Complexity in the winners bracket finals of your qualifier. Again, now teams like SSG, Optic, FaZe, they weren't allowed to compete because they already had a spot within the pool play. Same for Shopify Rebellion and Sentinels, but still, Complexity positioned to win a qualifier. Ain't nothing bad about that. Big wins for Complexity. Go to the grand finals with that advantage. Eventually, we fast forward to our losers bracket semifinals. This is top 4 guaranteed at this point. Pure 3-1 against Incognito. I talk about Incognito so much. I love this combination of Descendant, Manny, Collected, and King Nick. I believe this is probably going to be their team, obviously going into Atlanta. And if you're looking for an underrated roster, man, let me tell you, there are plenty out there. I don't think Pure are not signed. Incognito are not signed. Many others, Reversal Perfy, are fantastic. Like, there's so many teams that are not signed right now, where if you have an organization and you want to get your name out there, especially with a team that has a very, very good chance of making it into pool play and getting your name on that graphic, Incognito is definitely a team you should be looking at. Same for Pure if you got some money, because I'm sure that team's gonna, that team, they gonna demand a little bit too, because they getting there. So we're probably one of the best teams that aren't signed at the moment, but there are teams that if organizations are looking for rosters, definitely can reach out. Pure with the 3-1 over Incognito. Pure Den with the 3-0 against Cloud9. And again, keep talking about how good this Cloud9 roster is, and obviously you've made it deep into this tournament. You've made it into the top 3, and nobody's sitting here talking about top 3 isn't impressive. Even in Atlanta's qualifier, top 3 is still very impressive, but we hate sweeps. We hate to see sweeps, and whether it's Complexity, who we know Cloud9 have the ability not only to take a game, not only to take 2, but have the ability to win against a Complexity roster. Cloud9 have the ability to beat Pure. In fact, in one of the Open Series tournaments, Cloud9 did beat Pure in a Game 5 in order to make it into the Grand Finals. So we don't want to see teams get swept, and that includes Cloud9. We'll take a little bit of a deeper dive into this one and take a look at the stats. So we'll see how close things really were. Last shot, once again, just being last shot. 69 kills, nice. 20 assists, 19,000 damage, but the actual leading damage dealer was Druk coming in. Only 55 kills, but plenty of assists. And I cannot tell you guys all the time, I think assists are so underrated when it comes to Halo Infinite. As long as the player dies, you put down that damage and you're able to stay alive and give your team an advantage. It should not matter whether you get the kill or your teammate does. To me, assists tell me that you are playing proper Halo, you're playing around your teammates, you're staying alive, but still being effective on the map and still being a nuisance, being a problem there. I think assists are so important, but people think I'm faded when I talk as highly as I do about assists. Other side of things, yeah, Spectre, 58 kills, love to see that. Septify, 40 kills and 27 assists, very good out of him. And Sab also having quite the game, or quite the series, I should say. Still not enough. A decent win in Oddball. Of a close win, going down to the wire in that Slayer, only 3 kill difference. But again, I know Pure are a strongholds team. We know this, but this is for your tournament life. Got to see more life out of Cloud9 there. In fact, we got to see them win at least one of these games in the series. They're expecting more out of this Cloud9 roster. Meanwhile, Pure, very good. Very good on their way to the Grand Finals. It was in that Grand Finals where eventually Pure, with a pure smackdown on Ryanoob and Complexity, 3-0 sweep, Pure came into this Grand Finals, the first series, angry at the fact that they lost 1-3 to this very Complexity roster, came out and took their anger out on that very Complexity team and got their revenge, at least in one of those series. But after that, it was Complexity with the 3-1, the same series scoreline that we saw in that winner's bracket that knocked Pure down to the lower bracket to begin with is the same scoreline to knock them into second place and propel Complexity into pool play and in to that top spot. Again, don't forget, it was first place, end up in a pool with FaZe over Optic, which doesn't probably sound like that big of a difference, but when you see the difference as far as the number 1 team at HCS points after the qualifier versus the first place team in the qualifier. We know that Quadrant qualifies, so in this pool, not only would you have Optic, but you would also have now going by Into the Breach. You don't want to be in a pool with Into the Breach and Optic. You would rather whoever that tertiary team coming out of EU is, even though you're in a seed with FaZe, you would still rather it because you feel like this spot is more winnable than this spot, knowing what Into the Breach is. But I guess no matter who it is you're gonna go up against, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best kind of thing. But I will say, giving yourself an easier road going into pool play, going into bracket play, is nothing to scoff at. It's nothing to hang your heads low about. It's what you should be striving for, even though some people may not admit it out loud. Complexity, a huge win for them. And after seeing the road that they went on, you got to think to yourself, does that mean Ryanoob and Complexity are top 4 again? Like when we talked about Ryanoob back in the day, back in the Halo Infinite days, excuse me, we think about that United squad who was, second place during the first event, third place during the second event. Ryanoob was on top. Things are a little bit different now. A lot of competition that we're seeing, and when I think of who's in the top 4, I think of FaZe, I think of Optic, I think of SSG, and then I think of, somewhere in a split of Rebellion and Sentinels. I give Rebellion a bit of the edge, and if you want to make it into that top 4, you're going to have to go through one of these. So will I say Ryanoob and Complexity are top 4 once again? Maybe not. I'm going to tweak it a little bit. I'll say that I think they're contending for top 4. They're within that conversation. I think to me, more reasonable would be top 8, top 6 for Complexity, and then have them overachieve if they make it to a top 4, as opposed to guaranteeing a top 4, because you have so many teams that I can see not only getting there as well, but also even beating them. Complexity aren't perfect, but neither is any other team in the league. So the answer to that question, maybe. Let me know in the comments down below if you think Ryanoob is top 4 once again. Do you believe in his Complexity roster? Where do you have them about? Like I said, top 8, top 6 with the potential maybe stretching to a top 4 is not too far from me. But if I had to put money on it, I really like that top 8, top 6 realm for Complexity. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. And until next time, peace out.